Hey, good morning. Happy Monday. Happy Metric Monday. It's the 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. I'm Greg Mester, Scrum Master and Agile Coach. And today, I kind of want to do a restart on the metrics. I've been a while since we've done some metrics. I've really been thinking about metrics lately. Been doing a lot of my, if you watch it, 67-day challenges, and I track all that in my spreadsheet. And what I'm doing is some metrics. But I've thought about a lot of people lately who have been like, oh, metrics don't help, but we shouldn't do metrics. We shouldn't measure anything. And I want to say some metrics do work. They're used everywhere. And for people to say, it's just like giving a review to your customers, and getting feedback like, oh, that doesn't work and everything, but it does. So I want to share a little bit of today. I want to talk about a little bit why metrics are good in Scrum and anything you do, actually, as long as you don't take it to the nth degree, to the extremes, and some core ones that you should do as a Scrum Master on a Scrum team. So I'm going to talk about that. This will be a quick one. I got a daily Scrum up next, and then I got to do an interview for a show, and I got a bunch of other things that I got to get done today before I do a retro later in the day and a sprint review. So my day's full. Never lets up, and it always does. So let's talk about it today. It's 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. I am Greg Mester, Scrum Master and Agile Coach, and here we talk about Scrum and Agile in a very practical and tactical way, so you can bring more value to the customer, not work that hard to get the value to the customer, and have a little fun along the way. And as we talk about metrics, I got Bubbles here. She's, if you see in the camera, she's here. She's like, Dad's there in the show. I'm gonna join the show. So why metrics? What really dawns on me? So this morning I measure every 67 days and where I stop and go and keep accurate counts on whether or not I'm achieving my goals, right? My personal goals and business goals. And today I hit a metric of 67 days of bicycling every 15 minutes. So no, not every 15 minutes a day. So sorry for my voice loss there. I do a 15-minute bike ride every morning, get me going. Something I want to do for the next 30, 40, 50 years of my lifetime if I'm lucky enough to reach that. So it's something I can maintain forever. Metrics. Why metrics? Everything's measured. As I watch the metrics, I keep track. I give myself incentives. Oh, I have so many more days and where I am in different levels. Same thing goes with business. There is not a business book out there, not a marketing book, not a software book. It doesn't talk about doing some kind of measurement to track how you did and how you got better. In the old, we're still here. What are we looking at for? The green belts, black belts. Man, my mind just took a blank. But the statistical stuff, the measurement of how we're doing, the Six Sigma world, right? We've been doing measurements forever, and they come and go in different forms, and it's okay. Sometimes you get tired of the metrics you have, and you want to try something new, but you are going to measure. And for those who say, we're not going to measure, sooner or later you're going to come back to it. I'd rather have you change up what you're measuring for a different purpose and different goal than not measure at all. Because once you get in a habit of measuring, it's hard to get back. You go back to the basics again. You start all over again. You're back to the negative space. First, keep doing it every day. So when we do metrics, we do it to see how we did in the past. Are we in the right direction? Do we make change, and did our change impact the numbers in a good way? They talk about this in marketing all the time. It's called A/B testing, right? So you do an A/B test and you say, okay, did this view or this item do better than the other one when we want views or hits or new subscribers or sales or whatever the metric is? We do it all the time. It's there. What I love is some of these purists on Scrum or development. We don't need to measure. We don't need due dates. We don't need all that stuff. I said, yeah, you do. It's going to help you in the long run. It's going to help your team. It's going to give you data to share with other people because people understand data. Right? They may not understand data, but they understand when they see it. They understand when they have a view. So I want to encourage you, don't get away from doing metrics. Change up your metrics if you don't think they're being useful. And maybe I should mute my phone. By the way, if you subscribe to the channel, you should get notifications that we're live. So that was a notification telling me that we were live and how far into it. 5 minutes into the show, I got a notification. So sorry if I'm a little delayed, if you're on here or comment or whatever, or you see it later. But the nice thing is here. All right. So what are the core metrics that you as a Scrum Master and Agile coach should think about? One, from a personal standpoint, individual, any metric you do, any habit you're working on daily, you want a daily metric. You want a snapshot in time, and you want an end of your period performance, and then over time. So in Scrum, velocity. Velocity is not a metric in the book. It's not part of the Scrum guide. There's nothing that really talks about measuring velocity. People add that on as a way to look at it. In the old days, we used to measure lines of code, which I always thought was a nut job of an idea. Why did I think that? Because I had no idea how many lines of code someone was going to write to create the work they're going to do. And some of the lines of code add no value whatsoever. So, I mean, really bad. So why would you measure it? Only reason why you would if you needed memory space. And I think we kind of solved that problem in the world. So let's talk about velocity. So you do work. So there's ways you can measure how much work you can do. You can talk about how many stories or tasks or whatever issues you're working in a sprint. Okay. You can measure by the issue count. You can measure by points for velocity. You can do a point estimate. We could talk. We'll do another show on reemphasizing how to do points. I would say do both. I would say look at issue count, and I would say look at a value like points, like try to be it's supposed to be mimicking how complex or how difficult the particular work is. Because you can have 50 things that take you 5 seconds to get done, but you can have one big thing that's going to take you all that time to get it done. So you want to look at both numbers. You want to look at how we doing from account wise and how we doing velocity. So those are core right there, right? Burn down charts or burn up charts. It's nice to have. It's nice to see that is things getting done. You may or may not need that. You may be able to look at on your board, like your Kanban board, your Scrum board, as seeing things moving to the right. Question is things getting done. And that's where you measure that. We can measure things getting over, but if the pieces aren't done and the actual work isn't, quote, done, then how do you know you're really getting to the point where you have value producing? So some way of measuring what you value as done, whether it be features done, points done, stories done, whatever you need to do to get into the customer's hand is a measurement. So we have velocity measured either in points or issues counts. We have done, measuring something done. How do you want to measure your done? To measure, I want to say an average, right? So I like in Scrum, things can go up and down. They will always go up and down. There's never going to be, it's going to be perfectly fine. It ain't going to happen. So you want to do a moving average. So I would do a moving average of those previous items, whether it be issue counts, points, or even how much your definition done. Do a moving average from sprint to sprint to sprint. And that way you can see, are you in a good direction? Are you accelerating? Are you deaccelerating? Are you staying the same? What's going on? And why do we do all this? Because you want to see over time how your retrospectives are impacting your team's ability to produce value, right? Is the thing you change in retrospect, moving it up, staying the same, going down? That is the other core metric that you should have. So you should have a moving average. You should have a measurement of done, measurement of issues completed, right? One of the things in Kanban is they talk about SLAs, time to get things finished. And that's a good one to have too. If that's your goal and your idea is to get the quickest return, now my question is how many bugs? So this is one of the things you need to look at too. You need to look at how many bugs are getting generated compared to the work getting done. If your work is generating more bug issues than work getting done, that's a measurement. You want to have that ratio. So that's the other one. You want to look at quality. Everybody wants to do speed, but is your speed hitting your quality or number of issues you're finding? Now, sometimes you find new ways to find issues, therefore you find more issues, but that's one of the other things. And the last one I want to give you, let me think about this for a second. So you got velocity, which could be measured in issues counts or points or whatever your system is. You have done, like how much stuff you get done into the customer's hands, right? You have a moving average, right? You want to do the moving average to compare retrospective or compare and process improvement, see if it's getting better or worse, or things are trending down. And then you got to alert your team as a Scrum Master, hey, things are trending down. Don't be a micromanager on that, and we'll talk about that another day. The other one is throughput, how fast things are getting through, but you balance the throughput in with the measurement of bugs to work completed. So yeah, you want to, if you're going to measure throughput, I recommend you in partnership measuring how many bugs are you generating, what's the quality of the work, some measurement of quality on that one, right? And the last thing to measure is how are you doing, right? How is your team doing? Find different ways to measure it. It may be more subjective. How is your team progressing? How do they feel quantitative wise? There's surveys you can do, things like that, and you can compare values that people are having. And you don't measure that often per se. You may measure once a quarter or something like that when you get more time in. You may want to do for new hires. How are they feeling within the first 2 weeks in the first sprint? Are they part of the team? They not part of the team. So if you have new hires, that's kind of how, but you want to measure a more subjective, not an objective, but a subjective measurement of how the team is doing. So that's what I have for today, reintroducing Metric Monday. And I hope that helps. We'll go more into detail on Mondays going forth. It might be later in the afternoon because I usually have teaching on Mondays, which is why I haven't done it on Mondays. So maybe in the afternoon on Mondays, we'll do the Metric Mondays, but I want to make sure I do these metrics because I do find these valuable, and I do want to give pointers and thoughts on how to measure, whether it be personal growth or team growth. With that, I want to wish you the best. I want to wish you happy scrumming, and we'll see you soon. Take care and see you next time. Bye, everyone. Bye, Bubbles. She's sleeping.